This is my favorite prompting technique, and this is why it's the first one. It will make you go from an average prompt engineer to a fancy one, and you can then tell your mom about it. So basically, it is zero shot versus few shot prompting. What does it mean? Fairly simple. Zero shot prompting means you give the LLM zero context, zero example of what you actually ask. With one shot prompting or few shot prompting, either you give one example or a few examples. Think about it like a human being. When you want to hire an agency, you need to give a brief. And a brief is much better if you have a mood board, or even better, examples of what you actually want. Let's say you want to generate a logo. Well, you can share logos that you want so that the agency knows what it should create, the kind of feeling it should reproduce. So it's the same with LLMs. The better is the example of what they need to do as a mission, the better are their results. And by the way, this is not from me, or this is not just from my experience. This is commonly known in every academic papers on prompt engineering. And I'm gonna add them right here just to mess with my editor. And also I'll just put all the links inside the description. So let's find out with an example. I wanted to write a hook for my LinkedIn. What's interesting is that if I tell someone who doesn't know LinkedIn what's a hook, there's a high chance they have no idea what's a hook. But if I ask someone who writes on LinkedIn quite often, they know what's a hook. The hook is this first line to grab people's attention. You know, on LinkedIn, you have to click on see more once you want to unroll the whole caption. So here is the same. I wanted to ask ChatGPT if it can write a LinkedIn hook for my next post. What's interesting is that in the zero shot prompting example, I just said, write a hook for my LinkedIn post. The result is weird, to say the least, terrible. It is not a hook. This is a whole paragraph. And after reaching a whole lot of people on LinkedIn, I can guarantee you this is not good. But the thing is, the LLM stand no chance. Just like if I stop someone on the street and I say, hey, can you write a LinkedIn hook? They probably don't know. But imagine if I would give an example of what's a good hook. This is the kind of hook that I'm usually doing. And now I want you to write a LinkedIn hook. So this is called either one or few shot prompting. Now you get much better results. I mean, look at this. Yeah, this is the exact same prompt, but this time I wrote, your cold email strategy is outdated. So I shared the exact hook I'm using and I got viral with, so that ChatGPT don't have to make some guess on what's a hook. They actually have an example. And you can see the answer. It is much better. This is an actual hook. And guess what? Using my token window, I can now iterate and ask for way more hooks, because now I don't have to explain anymore what's a hook. ChatGPT has a sense, a feeling of what it is. This is what's so interesting with LLMs. We need to treat them like humans, because guess what? The entire training data was produced by human beings. This is why when you're giving a human being examples of what is good and what they should produce, well, they're probably going to do a good job about producing it. Now, one last thing, and this is not from academic papers, this is actually from my own experience after prompting for tens of thousands of hours. So you and I know that zero-shot prompting is awful. It's pretty bad, and it's really hard to get what you actually want. But then you have the choice between one-shot prompting, which means that you're giving one example and then you get back what you want, or few-shot prompting, which is you give multiple examples of what you want and then you get the answer. What's weird is that naturally you would think that few-shot prompting is the best, right? For my example here, maybe the best is to give 50 hooks and then ask for the next one. Naturally, it feels like it because, well, if I'm training it on more data, then it's going to do a better job at answering back. Well, my understanding, at least my experience, is that one-shot prompting is oftentimes much better. One, it's faster because you just have to find one good example and then you get an answer back. And two, there is something about one-shot prompting is that it limits the creativity of LLMs. And usually when LLM has to be creative, you have worse results. Because if you are the one who sets the boundaries and the limits, you get much better output. So if I really know what I want, for example, a hook, then I'd rather do one-shot prompting. But if I want to do brainstorming, which means I need more creativity, I don't use zero shot or one shot or few shots. I use different techniques like the tree of thoughts. And we'll get back to it in a second.